Anyway, for our final story here, so some interesting story before we conclude. So if you're a struggling business here, what are you supposed to do here? So do you just simply pack up and leave? Do you give up? Or, is there's still a fighting chance? Well, according to one owner, Noe Potenciano, okay, who owns a restaurant in Boracay. So obviously, if you know that the Boracay is a travel destination for many tourists and local tourists as well, and they were closed for some time during the lockdown, and even though they have already reopened, but many people are still apprehensive traveling, or is it safe enough to travel with all the requirements if you want to travel from one city to another? It's not ideal. So the question is, what will happen to your business if you're not able to operate for a month, 3 months, 6 months, or even a year? For some, they close up shop. That's the easiest solution here. But for them, or for Mr. Potenciano here, he did something else. Realizing, according to him, realizing that there's no hope, there's no light at the end of the tunnel. So they had to do something else. So they decided right there and then to decide something else. So what they do was something interesting. And I think a lot of businesses could learn from this. So let's see here. So what they did was something else totally different. So what they did was bringing all their staff to the Metro or Metro Manila, where they open up a pop-up on all their of their all-day breakfast place. So they created another business in the Metro to sustain themselves for the meantime. So an example is the Sunnyside Cafe, Coconut Dessert Shop, Coco Mama, and a few more food delivery ideas. So what they did here is Noe and his wife, Odette, paid for their staff's ferry tickets, personal protective equipment or PPE, and swab tests. Now, obviously, this would entail more cost, and also they also rented for them so that they'll be walking distance from the restaurants. Now, obviously, there's a initial upfront cost to do it, but obviously, even though it's expensive, it's a partnership with the owners and the employees here. What they stated is, it's reasonable, right? You build up the relationship here, and he stated that some of them have been with them for a long time, for as much as 14 years. So obviously, that's a relationship you just don't throw away that easily. So they built up the long-standing relationship. So with them, so it felt important to help them along the way. Now, obviously, during the height of the pandemic, of the lockdown, the government only provided handout of as much as 8,000 for 2 months, and received some, financial help from the Potencianos, but obviously that's not going to be enough. So they have to be creative here. Obviously, if you have to continue having a business, you have to be creative. So in the case of Mr. Potenciano here, did something drastic, right, by changing location here. Obviously, what he longs for is to see people enjoy food again, not just buy food, take out order, delivering online. Obviously, the reward is lost when this is just delivered to your doorstep here. It's always a different experience when you're dealing with servers, the owners themselves in the establishment themselves, right? And obviously, Noe has it tough, but at least his businesses is surviving in some aspects, while others are already completely shut down or have closed shop already here. Anyway, and obviously, good news for them. They're actually even busy now trying to cope up with the demands. Now, obviously, they're trying several things here. Whatever sticks, what works continues. If it doesn't work, look for another solution, change their approach here. Obviously, many businesses are in a desperate mode now, especially for small and medium enterprises here. So obviously, the government support is important here. And the question is it safe to go back so that consumers can support the many businesses that are out there? And if it's not safe, it'll be an uphill battle for many businesses here. And according to him, he wishes that the days ahead for the government to get their act together. And if you compare that to other nations who are already in their recovery period, uh, let's say in Vietnam, Thailand, they're on their way to recovery. How are they able to do that? Obviously by implementing, providing help or subsidies for the many businesses that are affected. It's not just the individuals you need to help, but the business itself. Because if you help the business recover, the economy will recover on its own. How fast will always be up to the government here. And according to Mr. Potenciano, a big bold intervention is necessary, which is true, right? Little adjustments won't do it or won't cut it anymore. So hopefully for next year they have something planned to encourage businesses to survive and encourage new businesses to start up. Obviously, when there's a problem, there's always an opportunity to start a business to generate more revenue. Either you adapt or you fade away.